Hello and welcome back to the Court Sense podcast. Hope everyone had a Merry Christmas, because whoever was hoping to unwrap the gift of Hawaii holiday hoops will unfortunately have to wait a while longer. The Rainbow Warriors' two-game series against Cal Poly set for Sunday and Monday at Simplify Arena was canceled this week due to a positive COVID test among the Mustangs, who didn't make the trip out to the islands at all. It was the latest blow to the Big West league-wide scheduling, which is already in tatters amid an explosion of COVID cases in California. It was the fourth of 5 BWC opening weekend pairings to get the axe. Only UC Irvine against UC Santa Barbara is still on as of Saturday afternoon. It was a pretty disappointing development if you were hoping to see more of the emerging freshman Bawali Bales and his energetic style of play at the point, coming off a 6-point, 5-assist outing as a surprise starter in an 89-66 win over Hawaii Hilo on December 19th. Bales looked ready to assume the vacant playmaking role, and he was awarded with a team-high 28 minutes. The Rainbow Wahine also had their two-game set against Cal Poly canceled in San Luis Obispo. Now both teams, men and women, will, knock on wood, open league play against UC Riverside on January 8 and 9. Man, after a first week like that, you have to wonder how this is going to work. Thankfully, we still have something more to talk about this week because former Bow Brandon Spearman was kind enough to join me for a conversation recently about his time out here, his 7-year pro career at places like Germany, France, and Egypt, and he had some interesting things to say on playing for Gib Arnold, the NCAA investigation saga, and what happened to the one-and-done Tip of the Spear Award that was awarded by Gib Arnold in 2014. So, here we go. Check out Mike and Kara at No Ka'oi Automotive in Kalihi for all your vehicle repairs and maintenance needs. Quick turnaround, affordable, honest, and ASE certified. Call or text 842-6453 to schedule an appointment today. That's 842-MIKE or email nokaoiauto@gmail.com. The best part, mention the Court Sense podcast for a 10% discount. All right, this week on the Court Sense podcast, it is an honor to be able to catch up with a guy that I had the privilege of covering at the University of Hawaii for 2 full seasons. Brandon Spearman played in 2012-13 and 13-14 in Manoa and has since enjoyed a very successful pro basketball career the last 7 years. So, Brandon Spearman, welcome to the pod, man.
Thanks for having me, B. I appreciate being on the podcast, and let's get this going.
Spear, it's been a wild year for everyone, and I think yourself included. You've played in, as I said, a number of far locations from here, multiple continents. Last year you were in Egypt of all places. I didn't even know that they had like a pro basketball league there until I saw that you had signed there, and then you played most recently in Finland and came back stateside. So. Please, can you just give people an update on what life has been like for you lately?
Well, so I've just played in Finland, and I signed a contract there to be there for 9 months, but it ended up not going well. The season ended up basically they ended up stopping the season in December this month because of COVID reasons, and that was a big part of me from leaving Finland to come back to the States. So I'm just happy to be back home. This will be my first time spending Christmas back home in years. I can't remember. So so this is great. It's a great feeling. I get to be home, spend time with my mother, spend time with my parents, my friends, and I get to enjoy Christmas in the United States. So it's nothing better than that.
Yeah, that didn't even occur to me that you would have been gone for that on an annual basis, because I mean the pro seasons in these European countries and wherever else, I mean they typically last through the winter, right into the springtime for the most part. So I guess home for you is Chicago, right? I mean that you're a Chicago guy, and I think you're in Vegas right now, but are you going back there like in the near future?
Yeah, for sure. I have a flight to go back to Chicago next week, actually. So I get to spend the holiday season with my fam. And so it's been a couple of years. So my fam had the opportunity to fly to Europe and spend like 1 or 2 Christmases with me. So that was a big blessing to have that to happen. And yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm just excited to be home. I've been overseas playing for so many years in so many countries, and I love each and every one of them. Everyone have every it's every country is a little bit different than others, but I enjoy it for the most part.
Yeah. So Brandon, I mean, this year, like we talked about, it's been such a weird year with COVID happening and whatnot.
Hmm.
I guess when they announced that they were shut down or at least pausing, I think you got in like 10 games or something right up there, if I read correctly. Um,
Right.
did you immediately make up your mind like, all right, I'm coming back and I'm looking for a new situation, or was there a thought that you would be going back up there? How did that kind of work?
Well, pretty much. I think from management side and my side, we both agreed on that it's best for us to break the contract and for me to go find an opportunity elsewhere in a different country. I think it was best for me as of right now, just because COVID is stopping so many leagues right now in Europe. So many leagues are starting up. So many leagues are coming to a close, and we was one of those leagues eh, um, that stopped. For just a mandatory, just for a little time. So like I said, it was something that I had to do. I had to make a quick decision. Both sides agreed on it, and I'm happy about it. It was very cold up there. It was very cold,
Can imagine.
so I'm happy. I'm happy to leave that place.
Well, Spear, you
Yeah.
also, I mean, you started off your pro career, correct me if I'm wrong, in Germany. Enjoyed a very strong couple of years there, if memory serves, and then you made your way over, I think, to France, and you've also played in Czech Republic. Uh,
Hmm.
what have you learned, just like being in these European countries and Egypt, of course, in the north part of
Hmm.
Africa? What have you experienced like over these 7 years as a pro overall?
I just think the people that I met over over the years, man, I met some great people, and I exchanged with some people that that become we're friends now. I have friends in different continents. I have I've I didn't seen things that people wish they can see. I didn't did things people wish they can do. And I'm just grateful that that happened. Uh, for me to have the opportunity to travel around the world and do what I love still, I see so many people, not playing the game anymore. So many people can't play the game because of injury, but I'm still here staying strong, playing the game that I love. And who knows, next time maybe I'll be in China. You just never know, with this game, with this business, I think leaving UH, at UH, I was so like I played. It was so much fun to be on that court. It was so much fun to be competing with your brothers. But I think when I left UH, that's when business hit me. That's when I started thinking business of like, oh, okay, well, okay, let me maybe this opportunity is better than me. Just different opportunities, different salary, different. A lot of things come into mind. When you leave. So uh, it's a big difference. It's a big difference. Going country to country, dealing with coaches that probably never even, just never even coached. Maybe they just, coaching from a book. They learn how to coach through a book, or a coach coming from a basketball academy. It's just so many different, it's so different, so different. But like I said, I'm happy, and I mean, I'm happy to experience all the countries that I've been in. And who knows, probably it's more left in the tank for me. But I'm just very grateful.
Yeah, I mean, you're what, man? Like 29, 30, somewhere in that range, still like in the prime of your career.
Mhm. Still in prime right now. But I feel like I'm 37, man.
Yeah, I guess you probably have had a lot of wear and tear along the way. What do you have I mean, of all the places we named off, do you have a favorite? What was kind of your best experience? I mean, taking into account basketball, but also just, life in that place and the kind of people that you were around.
Um, I would have to say France was a great country to be in. I think just because of I'm such a laid back, relaxed guy, and they're like the same. Even though if you don't speak their language, even though if you don't speak their language, they're gonna be a little sassy toward you because they want anybody that come in their country to speak English. I try, even though like I tried to like order some food or whatever, but the guy didn't understand me, but he knew English, but he wanted me to say it in France. That type of stuff. Yeah, they like they want you to learn their language like fast. Like I'm like, hey, I just got in the country a month ago. Like this is gonna take some time. But France is definitely fun. I love the food. I love the people. Uh, just the architect around the country is great. Um, yeah, I love to go back. I love to go back. Yeah, that was great. That was probably the best country for me
All right, well,
to live
that's great in all spirit, but I got to ask you about Egypt too, man, because I have to imagine that was a little bit of a culture shock in probably an entirely different way when you arrived there. I don't know of many other guys who have played pro ball in Egypt. You're definitely the first guy that I've
in.
had a chance to catch up with who's just played anywhere in that region. So, in North Africa,
Mhm.
like what was that like?
Uh, I chose Egypt. Well, first of all, I always wanted to go to Egypt to visit, just to experience the pyramids, experience the people, just to visit. Even though coming in, I knew this was going to be a difficult type of, it was going to be difficult for me um, to be adjusted to the culture just because of, I'm not a religious guy, but they are, religious people. They go by this, at this time, they pray at the time, they do this, they do things a certain way. Um, but it was an offer that I couldn't turn down. It was an offer I couldn't refuse. The basketball there is not so great, but, in a situation where like I said in the beginning of the podcast, business, it was the best business opportunity for me to be there. And I met some cool people. I met some really, really cool people. I ended up meeting a lot of Americans out there. Uh, it was a great experience. Definitely very different. Definitely very different. Like Uber, like you can get an Uber for maybe 10 cents. A Uber costs 10 cents. Or Uber, costs like you can get one from like you can travel maybe a couple miles and you only spending like $20. It's like super cheap. And I really had to get adjusted just to the culture. That was the biggest. That was probably the biggest thing I had to get adjusted to. But basketball, I love basketball, and I can play anywhere on this earth. To be honest, I can play on the moon if they have baskets up there. Like, let's do it. So the love for the game, like I love it. And I always love it, like no matter what.
They should have baskets on the moon. You could probably uncork some pretty nasty
Hey,
dunks on the moon, I would have to think.
yo, we gotta talk to Elon. We gotta talk to Elon Musk. And, hey, put basketball hoops on the moon, please.
Yeah. No, Brandon, I remember actually, now that we're talking about this, for Egypt, when I believe you first announced that you had signed there, that you were going there for your next season of basketball, like a year or two ago. I want to say, I think Bill Amos, a guy who is pretty well traveled himself, he's played all over. He like immediately took notice of that. He's like, "Wow, man, well, good luck, best of luck to you," or something like that. If memory serves, do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that. I remember you saying that to me. And he actually visited there. He actually visited and he told me a little bit about it. But it's one of those things where you have to experience it yourself, you know.
Mhm.
So definitely different. It's definitely a culture shock. But like I said, they have wonderful people there, and I definitely would visit there. But if I visit, it will only be for 2 or 3 days.
All right. All right. Um, what would,
Yeah.
Brandon, what is the wildest thing that overseas basketball has allowed you to see? Just something that you visually
Mm,
saw or experienced, and you're just I cannot believe that.
wow. I have to think about this one. I can't really think. Maybe if I can think of one is when I think it was like my second year, and I think that tragedy that it happened in Paris.
Yeah.
I think it was 2014, 2015 or something. A tragedy, a very bad tragedy happened in Paris. It was a movie theater. The explosion at like a movie theater that happened, and I went to visit Paris because of time off. I had to visit Paris. I had time off. And then it was so crazy. Everybody was walking around with machine guns and like everything was locked down. Like it was super secured, you know. And that probably was one of the craziest things because like I think in America, I don't think you're seeing that. You're not
Mhm.
seeing you're not seeing officers walking around with rifles. Like you're not seeing like you're not seeing you're just not seeing that. And I think that was a pretty shocked to me. That was one, but it's plenty of. I'm pretty sure there's plenty of more. I just can't think of right off the top of my head right
So
now.
how soon after that tragedy was it that you were in the city? Was it like days, or like it happened like while you were there?
No, it happened before. So it
Okay.
happened like a week before, and
Okay.
I was like, hey, I was all excited. Then I went to go visit. Yeah, it was just crazy. It was
Gotcha.
crazy.
Gotcha. So, hey,
Yeah.
Brandon, I mean, more from just like a pure basketball standpoint, um, I think, people remember you during your playing days here as this just a hard nosed guy, give you double figure scoring a game, be one of the
Mhm.
most intense defenders on the team, slashing, scoring, occasional 3-point
Mhm.
shot, get you a steal here or there, all around
Mhm.
contributor. How much has your game evolved, or did you bring that same formula to Europe to be successful?
Uh, I feel like I feel like my game became more sharp. I became a much more smarter player, a much more player where if you need a basket, I can get a basket. So I feel like I became a much more all around player because of the work I put in. I put a lot of work in after I left UH, and it showed. It showed. But I'm still that player that play with tons of energy all over the floor, uh, ready for whatever the team needs me to do. But yeah, my game became so much polished right now that I'm very happy of where I'm at right now with my game.
I mean, you could hit the three ball while you were here, but is that something that specifically progressed for you, like in Europe? Because I know it's all about like shooting and
Mhm.
spacing, right? These days.
Yeah, it's all about shooting space and reading how well you play the pick and roll. I remember one time, like when I was in France, like I was a corner shooter. Like they said, I had plays where I was shooting a corner three. There were plays where I came off ball screens and slashing. It was very mechanic, type feel like when you playing in Europe, rather than more like loosey goosey. But yeah, it all depends on the system. All depends on the system you're in, the coach. You know how that goes. but
Mm.
but I'm still able to do what I do. Coaches, the ones that recruit me, they they make the plays and they do things where they see where what fits best for me in my game. So for the past 2 or 3 years, grateful to have coaches that know how to fit where my game should be.
As you said, you can get a coach every once in a while who just tries to do something out of something he read in a book, right?
Oh man, yeah, read a book, and then you get a coach where it's like, like, did you even like look at my film when you recruited me? like, you know what I can do. Why did you bring me here to do that? Like 1 year in Germany, my third year in Germany, this guy, he brought me in to be a 4-man. Like, like I'm not a 4. Like, I can't play the 4. I'm going against freaking. Was it that year? That year I played Christian. That year I was playing
Stan
Christian
Hardinger.
that year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like sticking Christian. Like, like
You
come
had
on
to
now.
guard
Like,
Christian? You were matched up with Christian?
I matched up with Christian. I matched up with a few guys that's big time names, and like they was bigger than me. I'm like, like I can't play the 4. So he figured out like halfway through the season, like, oh, Brandon can't play the 4. I don't need him on my team. And that was my first time getting cut. I'm like, well, fine. If I'm getting cut because I'm not in my right position, then that's fine with me. You know. But like I said, it's crazy, man. He's crazy.
All right. I got to back this up for a moment. I mean, what was it like playing
Yep.
against Christian, who's probably one of the most unique personalities of a player I have ever covered during their time at
Yeah.
UH. I mean, he would get to the free throw line all the time, but he was known as much for his antics as his game, and his game was good. So, I mean, did he hit you
Yep.
with because he would trash talk, he would do the occasional flop, he would
Yeah.
anything he could do to turn the game in his favor, he would do. So did he give you that when you
Yep.
matched up with him?
Yep. Yeah, pretty much. Christian always have that flame in him. He's a very unique guy, like you said. He's always have that gladiator, like nobody's gonna defeat me. Nobody's gonna, like, if you put me in the cage. Like, I remember one time we had like a beach workout, like at 6 a.m. in the morning, and he come up to me randomly and was like, and we're roommates, by the way. Like, that's my roommate. he like he like he like he like if it was me and you in a cage, like in a gauntlet cage, like who you think will come out and win? Like, who you think will die? Like, I will. He was pretty much told me that he will not die. He will kill me if it had to come down to it. I'm like, all right, Christian. That's you. That's you. But it was wonderful matching up against him. Like, he's always, that flame always in him, and it's never gonna go away. That that go, 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 go. Do whatever it takes. And it was a pleasure to meet up with him again. And we still keep in contact right now. He's right now in the Philippines, I think.
Yeah.
And he had a great, yeah, he's been having a really nice, successful career for himself over in Asia, where I'm trying to be. But those Asian countries, they looking for big men, not small guys like me. So I'm trying to see one of those countries, see if they can put me in there.
Well, Spear, since you brought up the beach workouts, that you guys did your annual under Gib Arnold, you guys would be getting out there like pre-dawn for these beach workouts at Queens Beach in Waikiki, and all kinds of different exercises and drills, and some were team oriented, some were just on you. I remember coming out to cover the quote unquote championship of King of the Beach for a couple years there, back to back. If memory serves, you won it one year, and then Christian came in. And did he win it the next year? Was that like the year that when you were talking about like who do you think would win if we were in a cage together?
I can't remember. I can't remember. I'm not sure.
Actually,
I think Christian
Amos might
maybe
have
won
won.
junior year.
Okay. Did you ever win one?
Christian, I did not win one.
Okay.
I did not win one.
My mistake.
I know.
My mistake.
No, that's okay. Christian won my junior year. My senior year,
Did Valdez win?
Maybe Valdez won my senior year. Yeah,
Okay.
I can't remember. Can't remember, but yeah, maybe Valdez. Oh wait. Oh, I really can't remember.
I
I can't remember my senior year.
I know Valdez won one, and that would have had to have been anyway. I do get my
Yeah.
years crossed every once in a while, but
Mhm.
all right. Well, since we're kind of reminiscing here, Brandon, let me go back a little further
Mhm.
to. I mean, as we said, you're a Chicago guy. You finished your high school career at Simeon High School, which was and is a pretty big name for high school basketball. It's where Derrick Rose played, a number of other guys. D Rose led them to a couple of state championships back to back. I think the last one being 2007, and then your team, your senior year, you helped lead that team to a 4A championship there in Chicago. What do you remember from that time? Because you were a pretty touted recruit. Like I saw something that you were like 139th in the country rated prospect that
Yep.
year, and you ended up going to the University of Dayton for your freshman year. But just what do you kind of remember from that time coming out of high school there in Chicago? Very competitive place.
So much. Let's see. Well, obviously, I won the state championship my senior year at high school. Um, Growing up, I went my freshman sophomore year. I went to a school called Hales Franciscan. This school was I don't know, guys like Jerome Randall, um, JaVale McGee came to Hales one year. He played one year, and it was very famous. But I ended up transferring to Simeon. Funny thing is, my freshman year, the Simeon coach talked to me because I wanted to go to Simeon, but I was like, "Hey, Simeon not showing me enough love, blah blah blah." But down the road, I end up when I was leaving Hales, I'll end up contacting Simeon, and the coach was like, "Hey, you should have came here your freshman year," blah blah blah. So it was funny from there. We had like a little connection, and Coach Rob, that's his name, the coach at Simeon. We end up just having like a bond, and I end up going to Simeon my junior year. That's when what happened my junior. Did we reach my junior year? We didn't reach downstate. We didn't reach. I think we made it to like regionals, and then we ended up losing. But it wasn't a good year. Um, that year, a lot of people was saying, "Oh, Simeon is over. The dynasty is over. Derrick Rose left. These players are garbage." Like Coach Robs to go coach in college. Blah blah blah. And then my senior year came around. That's when Jabari Parker was a freshman, and we ended up getting some good recruits coming in from different schools. But I was the main guy on that team. Um, so things started to turn around. Started to become a winning culture again. I traveled. We did a lot of traveling on the East Coast. I think we went down to Florida for a tournament. Went to Philly for a tournament. I ended up being in the dunk contest with Victor Oladipo and some other guy. Yeah, it was really fun. It was really fun. And like I said, that year we ended up winning the state title my senior year. And yeah, throughout my high school career, I was playing AAU ball, and I was heavily ranked in the nation, I think top 30. I think it was a couple guys that year uh, that was close to me. I think I was like 130. Victor Oladipo was like I think Victor Oladipo was 134 or something like that. But we was always like neck to neck with like guards, and yeah, yeah, it was a good time. It was a good time. It was a good time. Uh, it was the high school. My high school career was everything that I wanted it to be. The outcome was great.
So and
Yeah,
then
the outcome was great.
yeah, as I said, you ended up at Dayton, which I mean they're coming off a really good year with Obi Toppin. This past year, I would have really liked to have seen what
Hmm.
they could have done in the tournament. Caught them on Maui for the Maui Invitational, and they were awesome going up against Kansas. But I mean that's a storied program, over there in like the A10. And
Yeah.
what was that like for you? I mean, how are you feeling going into that? I know it didn't work out, but I mean, that's not a bad place to land coming straight out of high school.
Yeah. No, not at all. I love Dayton. Oh man, I love Dayton. The school is great. I ended up being coached by a guy named Brian Gregory. I think he's coaching at USF right now. But Brian's a great guy. He recruited me strong. He was the only person that was showing so much interest. He came to my house. He spent time with my mother. Um, the assistant coach, coach Coach Man, came out, spent time. They was always there. Like they was always there, and from since day one. So really appreciate Dayton. Really appreciate Dayton for showing the love, and I had to sign it. They were showing too much love, and they guaranteed a few things, but it didn't happen, didn't work, and I ended up leaving, transferring to Hawaii.
So was it kind of a situation where like they
So I
really
did one year June.
yeah, Indian Hills. I'm gonna ask you about that too because you cross paths with one Roderick Bobbitt while you were there.
Yes, sir.
But so it was a kind of a situation where you were felt like you were promised like a certain level of role and it just kind of didn't materialize that way.
Yeah. Well, the thing for myself, I think mine was a little bit too big coming out of high school. It's my older self talking to my younger self. I was just a little bit too big headed, and I feel like there were like two seniors or two upperclassmen playing over me, and I'm like, hey, like I'm ready now, like play me, I'm ready. And I felt like that, and I ended up transferring because I felt like I wasn't getting a fair, I wasn't getting a fair shot. That's all.
Like I'm coming off a state championship at Simeon High School. Like I'm the man here, kind of thing.
Yeah, like exactly, like yeah, like, and we was in that and that Dayton, I think we was top five recruiting freshman class, and we was the best freshman class they had. Yeah, we was the best freshman. I think probably the best freshman recruiting class they had.
Okay.
Recruiting like coming in. Um, yeah, yeah, and I think I probably was one of the highest guards that ever committed to that school. I'm like, yeah, like top 10, one of the highest guards that committed to that school. And yeah, man, I just felt I wasn't, felt things wasn't going my way. I'm like, all right, let me just get out of here. It's one of those.
Indian Hills. I mean, it gave you a opportunity to, I guess, play for one of the best JUCO programs at that time. I think you guys were ranked number one in the national JUCO ranks for at least a lot of that season. And as I said,
Yep.
you had Roderick Bobbitt as a teammate, and he was doing his triple doubles with steals stuff there. Even I think it took him an extra year or two before he made it out to Hawaii because you guys did not actually play as teammates at Hawaii. But what was that like? Just that kind of stopover and playing with him.
Oh, it was great, man. I love Robert. I love Rob. Roger, that's my guy for life. It was great. We was actually roommates when I was in JC, and we would pretty much do everything together. And he's probably one of the funniest guys. Probably one of the funniest guys I've been around. So we have a great relationship. And I told him he ended up contacting me like, hey, bro, I'm thinking about going to Hawaii. I'm thinking about doing what you did. The coach loved my game. And I'm thinking about doing it. I just told him like, go for it. Like, go for it. You're gonna love it. You're gonna love the island. You're gonna love the food. You're gonna love the atmosphere. Like it's great, and then from there, he was like, all right, bro, I'm doing this. So, I gave him the blessings, like, hey, do it. So,
What was
yeah,
it like
I
for
wish I
you?
wish we could have played him.
Yeah, that would have been cool. But what was it like for you watching? What he and his teammates were able to ultimately accomplish there with that first NCAA tournament win in program history.
Man, that was great. That was great. I mean, they really had a great they really had a great team. It was well put together. Um, it was great to see. It was wonderful to see. That's exactly what I wanted to do. When I was there at UH. But shoot, man, him doing that, him making that happen for the team is just as good as me. Not going. Like I get, like it's cool. Like he just filled that spot in for me. So it felt good, to see that and to experience that. And I know the guys were yeah, I seen like videos and I talked to a few of the guys throughout the years. They're happy, and man, it's gonna go down as UH. UH history is probably one of the best teams. So man, it's great. It's really great. I love to see it. I love to see it.
Well, Brandon, your junior year out here, your first year in a Hawaii uniform, you pretty quickly established yourself as like as I said, like all around contributor, glue guy for the team, slasher, scorer. Fourth game of your career is when you played your home state institution, Illinois, University of Illinois, Canada Stan Sheriff Center, as a stopover game for them on the way to the Maui Invitational. And you guys gave them everything you had. Game goes to overtime. I want to say it was DJ Richardson hit the shot from the corner to win it in overtime, but that was a hard fought contest, and the game I will probably remember you the most for, from if I'm thinking back on your career. You had 20 points, like 9 rebounds, just like wore your heart on your sleeve the entire 45 minutes. I think you played all but like 1 minute of that game or something. So kudos to you, first of all, but what do you remember from that game? I know it. I remember you being there and in the media room afterwards, just like the emotion's still really raw, because I know how much it, like you spoke to, like how much it would have meant to you to beat that team, and having come so close to it. What do you remember now?
Just very emotional before the game. Like I was, even not even before the game. Like as soon as I seen that we had Illinois on our on our teams to play, like I was amped up. I was amped, and I couldn't wait for that moment. Like I circled that date. Like I shot my extra shots. I put in the extra work for that game, like all my life, growing up, coming out, from Chicago, getting overlooked by your home state team. Like, that feel, you feel some type of way about that. And I feel like they always overlooked me. I never got a call. I never even got nothing in the mail, never even got like, anything. So I was really, really upset about that. And, just to be able to play them, at UH, like, it was game time. It was game time. I was so excited. So many emotions was going through me, and I just wanted to go out there and play hard, like just hard and to get the win. I was telling the guys how much this meant to me. And then they was, they was fighting. Jace, I think Jace was the point guard. Jace Abita. Yeah, Jace, he did everything in his power to look at me, make sure I get the ball, make sure, I was ready. I told all my teammates, I'm ready. Vander was one of the guys that was by my side, that was ready for war, and it was a great game. It was a tough loss, and it was a tough loss for me. Couldn't stop. I was very emotional. Couldn't stop thinking about what if I would have did this, what if we would have did that, blah 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 blah. But as of today, I'm just grateful that I had the opportunity to play against that Illinois team, because that Illinois team was very good. I think they ended up making the tournament that year. Brandon Paul was a great player for them, and Richardson, that's what he do. Like, you can't leave him. We can't leave him open in the corner. Can't leave him open anywhere. He was going to knock that down. So it was fun. It was fun, and it is what it is. It's how the ball goes. But I'm happy to experience that, and very happy that I played good against them.
As I said, I mean, that to me, that goes down as one of the defining kind of moments of your career in my memory, for sure. And you had some great games after that, don't get me wrong, but that really stands out to me. You play one more year, you guys I think probably one of the tougher losses I think you probably had to go through, if I had to imagine, Brandon, was the final game of your career, which was the Northridge game in the Big West tournament. That went to
Oh,
overtime as
yeah.
well, and just back and forth. Those sharpshooting Northridge guards, and I mean, you had Stan
Man.
Hardinger and Fotu and your guys, Keith Schamberger, and
Yeah.
didn't go your way. But my question for you, Brandon, is obviously it was your final career game. Could you have at all imagined that was Gibbs' final career game? It just the way things ended up playing out, like he never coached again in an official capacity.
Yeah, yeah, it's weird, you know how that goes. But Gib is my guy. Pretty sure he can coach somewhere else if he wanted to. Great coach, and probably one of the best coaches that coached me because he always believed in me. He believed in what I can do, and he listened to me. You know, I listened to him, and we had a really great relationship. But that last game, it definitely hurted me. Um, you know, I think like, the night before you think like, hey, this could be my last college game. So just go leave it everything on the floor. But like you said, those Northwest guards was really good. I think they had a guy with Green or something like that.
Uh huh.
Maybe I think.
Josh Green,
Yeah, Josh Green. Yeah, he was, and they had like two other guards.
Stefan Hicks.
Hicks. Yeah, Hicks was strong. Yeah, they had a great team. They had a great team, but did they end up losing that next round?
They actually got all the way to they won one more. They lost to Cal Poly in the championship game, and Cal Poly was like the 7th seed that year, so it was a really weird
Uh,
bracket. And they were the 5 seed. Northridge was, so it was 7 versus 5 in the
right.
championship. Like that was like nothing had happened before. So
Yeah.
it was kind of one of those, man. If Hawaii had found a way to get by Northridge, it was like, wow, the bracket's like wide open. But you never know, right? That's basketball, as you said.
Yep. That's how it goes. That's how it goes.
No, I mean, well, Brandon, you touched on, I mean, how much, how strong your relationship with Gib was. And I remember as everything, all the fallout for what ended up happening in the years, because it took multiple years for everything to finally shake out, right, with the NCAA. And
Mhm.
I remember you making some comments or something along the line like, I mean, you really had Gibbs back, I think, was kind of
Yeah.
the message I got from you. And you appreciated him as a coach, and some of the vilification that took place, you were just not on board with. And um,
Mhm.
yeah, I guess I'd be interested in your take on just after everything shook out, like what was kind of your with the NCAA and with you guys.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, the 2 years you were there is the 2 years they decided to vacate the wins. Like I when I would do my pregame, I would never, I would always count each and every game that was played because the wins and losses were settled on the court, in my opinion. Just due to some
Mhm.
technicality, I wasn't going to just, ignore that. Um, what was kind of your memory of just that whole time and how it ended up shaking out? And because to this day, obviously, you still respect Gibb as a coach.
Oh yeah, and I still keep up with you. We text, so it's all love between us. But with the college, during that time, it was I guess it was a weird time. I guess as players, we didn't know so much. It was only so much that we knew. But but what I did know was Gib. What I got to know was Gib, the person I got to know. Like him as a person, the type of person that he is. He's a great guy to be around. And I really learned a lot from him on and off the court. And if you know, I would hang out with Gib. I would come to his house. I would hang out with his kids. Like it was fun. It was all nice. Um, so like all those like whatever legal actions or whatever happened, it happened, but I always have like good memories in the back of my head. So it's some things that as a player you can't control. those things we can control. But growing, building relationships, that stuff is organic, and it comes natural with having a great relationship with a coach where a coach believes in you, that's a great feeling when a coach believes in you.
Gotcha. Out of curiosity, what was your reaction when you heard that they were going to vacate your wins from the NCAA standpoint?
To be honest, I really didn't care. I really didn't care. I was like, okay, well, we played those games already, so like you can't just. I mean, you take away from the history books, but it's fine. Like we were players. Players played here. We were here. We experienced the blood, sweat, and tears throughout those, throughout the years. So can't take that back. So I can always live with that.
Well, you guys, your senior year went 20-11. It was the first 20-win season in, I believe, a decade at that point. 2003-04 was the previous one, and yeah. So I mean, you'll always have at least that having reached that threshold, if not, in a technical sense on paper. But Brandon, I'll just ask you one or two more, and I'll cut you loose.
Yep.
We touched on some of the cast of characters that you played with during your 2 years out here. Christian Stanhardinger at the top of that list probably. But I mean, you talked about Vander, standing strong with him your junior year. Keith Shamber was a guy you played with, right, for a season there.
Yeah.
Your senior year, Davis Rositas was there for your 2 years.
Yeah.
Out of all the guys I named, or maybe somebody else that I'm neglecting to mention, who was the most interesting guy you played with?
Oh man, that's something I gotta think about right there. I mean, for sure, Christian, absolutely for sure, Christian is. But if I can think of another player, man, maybe if I can think about the team that I was on my senior year, maybe Brandon Jawado. Maybe Jawado.
Interesting.
Yeah, I would say maybe Jawado was a little bit of an interesting guy. Yeah.
Have you tracked what he's done since because I believe he played like in was it Indonesia for a while there as a pro, and he's got this huge following now, like it's kind of like a fashion icon. Have you stayed in touch or tracked what happened to him?
Yeah, I stay in touch with Wado. Yeah, he have a huge following. Like, he do clothing, he do photography, he playing basketball in Thailand, I think. Yeah, playing basketball in Thailand. He's very loved out there, and I see he doing this thing. So I'm happy. I'm happy for him, man. That's him right there. Like he's different. Like he's just very different. Like color nails, like wild hair. He's just different, but he's cool, different.
All right, Brandon. So last question for you. You exited the program as the one and only winner of the Tip of the Spear Award recipient at the team banquet. Gib made that award specifically that year, and I think it was, at least in his mind, was going to be an annually given award. That ended up being his last year as coach, so it did not endure. So you are the one and only recipient of the Tip of the Spear Award in the history of the University of Hawaii basketball program. And it, when they introduced that award, they listed 5 attributes that make up that award, and I'll find them right here. I wrote them down. The 5 values are humility, enthusiasm, accountability, relentlessness, and teammanship. And there was a Hawaiian translation for each word to go with that award. So my question for you, Brandon Spearman, is: do you still have your Tip of the Spear Award lying around somewhere? And what does it mean to you to be the one and only guy to receive that award?
Well, I do not have my Tip of the Spear Award. That's a great question. I'm curious of where exactly is that. Maybe it's still in Hawaii. I'm not sure. I'm not. I'm not sure. That's crazy. Wow, that's crazy.
Because there
I
was
do remember that.
a physical like wooden spear or something like that, right?
It was a wooden spear. Yeah, it was like a spear. Yeah. Wow, what happened to that? I don't think it. I really don't think it made the trip back to the mainland with me. I don't know what happened. Probably, I don't know if somebody stole it or what.
Oh my
That's a good
goodness.
question. Yeah, yeah. I'm sorry, Gib. But yeah, that was yeah. I remember that. I remember that, and I'm very grateful, very honored for that achievement. It could have been anybody, but I feel like I said, me and Gib had that relationship, and I think we kind of like spoke the same language on the court. So it was great. It was like I was the coach on the court, and he was coached off the court, obviously, but he was just well connected.
Well, Brandon Spearman, I think it's probably poetic that you are the one and only winner of the Tip of the Spear Award. I mean, it's right there in the name. It's baked in. So, congratulations for that, man. Hey,
I'll take it.
Spear, thanks so much for making a little time until you get off to your next leg of your pro career journey. It's been quite a journey already. As you said, I'm sure there's much more to come. But thanks again, man, and take care of yourself and your family for this Christmas holiday.
Yeah, you too. Stay safe, and let's make sure we do everything possible to stay healthy out here.